Hey all, welcome to Icaria. The big news is that we're hard at work on Icaria 1.0 and expect to release it soon. I thought I'd give you a preview of what's coming. The first major part of 1.0 is the endgame. In true factory style, you get to launch a rocket. And we've also added some new toys that fill in some gaps in the gameplay. Most of them are things you've already been asking for. I'll cover those details in another video, so you can keep watching this one and avoid spoilers. The other major new feature is text-based scripting. That's a feature we didn't originally plan for the game, but during early access, we've gotten a lot of requests for it, so here it is. The first thing to know is it's not really a new language. Much of it is similar to the drag and drop language, with some changes that hopefully make it a bit more flexible. I suspect I'm going to end up making a video series on this, but to begin with, I'm going to walk through a basic mining script and use it to introduce the spirit of the new language. So here I am at just past the beginning of the game. I've set up a couple kilns to process iron and copper, and I've set up some beacons marking my iron and copper mine. In addition, I've created a parking beacon, which is a place we can send drones to when they're done with whatever job they're working on. And I've now broken my starter drones into two categories, or to two teams. The blue team, which is going to be mining iron, and the orange team, which is going to be mining copper. And I've got my purple guy over here. He's sort of my utility drone. I use him for assembling buildings and things like that. Finally, I've got a small storage here titled with the role ingest, and the idea is that all the drones will drop everything they mine into the one ingest, and then I'll build a factory to process everything. So to begin with, I'll take this drone here and program with the mining script, and I'm going to use the drag and drop language first, so it'll be, for those of you who played the game before, it'll be familiar. Click on new action. Oops, I've already got something in here. Let's clear that up. So what do we do with the script? First thing we do is we want to go to the quarry. Now, in the nature of this language, if there's no more iron in this quarry, then this command will fail. So, and we want to stop and go to parking there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it on success. If we actually succeeded in going to the quarry, then there's iron there. And we want to dig. And then what we want to do is go to, where is it here? I want to go to the ingest, and then I want to drop off what I just mined. Now there's a nuance here. I want my blue drones to go to the blue quarry, and I want the orange ones to go to the orange quarry. So I'm going to click on this. And when I do this, you'll see now it turns blue, and that means we're only going to go to blue quarries. But if I take this same action and assign it to an orange drone, then it'll go to orange instead of blue. That's the idea. And then what we're going to do here at the end of the script, what we want to do is go to the parking area. And one other thing we want to do is if we've succeeded in dropping something off, then we want to go back and try again. So I'm going to drag this in. It's a play command. A play command can be used to play any action that's in the current role, but in this case, with this little loop thing, it says, hey, replay this action, which is just a quick way of saying start again from the top. And there's my script. And I can even start this running. Let's unpause here like that. And you can see there it goes, right? One other new feature that's kind of fun we've added is we've got a single step. So I can step through all the commands one at a time. And you'll see after each one finishes, it pauses the game. You see there it goes, pause. Pause, pause. So that's a new feature that helps you debug your scripts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same script and redo it in the text-based language. And there's a button up here. It's the other new button on the top of this bar in the script panel, which lets you switch to a text script. Now the way this works is that every action has both a text script and a drag and drop script. And depending on what mode you set here, that'll control both what you're editing, but also which one runs. So if I put the text script in here, I haven't lost my block script. We don't currently have any way of converting a block script to text, so you choose one or the other at the beginning. And now, if you haven't seen it, there's these little drag down here. I can make the window a bit bigger because the text lines can get kind of long. So equivalently, I'm going to go say here, go to. And so the first bit here is a go to command, which is the equivalent of this go to here, right? And then I put role names in brackets. Reason you put them in brackets is because role names can have spaces in them, so we need to have some sort of marker for them. You notice that it comes up with an error here that says cannot use an entity set as a location. Well, the reason for that is I've actually got two beacons that are both marked as quarry in the quarry role, and so I have to decide which one. And the goto needs you to tell it how to choose which one. So the simple answer to do this is to say nearest, like so. And that takes the entity set, which is the set of everything with the query role, and says, which one do I pick? And I pick the nearest one. And I can also, if I want to, pick random instead. And that resolves it, picks one at random. And depending on what you're doing, you might want one or the other. But we want to do something else. We also want to restrict this this to just the ones that are on my team. So if I say on team like this, now I could just say blue here, right? And then we'll go to the nearest beacon that's on team blue. But the other thing we can do is we can say this. Now, when I put a this there, that's referring to this drone. And I put the team in here and they say, okay, we're going to go to this, which is me, my drone, and say, what team is my drone on? And then I'm going to make sure that the quarry I go to is on the same team as the drone is. Now there's another bit of a nuance here. We're going to the beacon, which is a little bit different. So, and this is a place where it behaves a bit differently from in the block-based language. If I put this beacon over here for a second, and I picked the wrong drone here. Which one did I have? Here you are. Okay. And I run this. You see, it goes to the beacon itself. It doesn't go to the marked area. So, and in general, if you just say nearest, it resolves to an entity, not to a point on the map. And so the next thing we need to do is put a qualifier on here to say, how do I generate a point on the map from the entity? And we can say high point, like so. And then when I execute this, it goes to the highest point in the area. And the other options you have here, these will be familiar from the scripting language or from the drag and drop language. There are options there. We can do that, and it goes to the lowest point in the area. We can do this. And that goes to the nearest point, which if you're already inside the area, doesn't do anything because you're already there. But if I come over here and click this, it goes to the nearest point in the area. And then finally, the last choice you have is a random point like that. And now I can keep doing this and it'll keep bouncing around like so. But I think for this purpose, I'm going to do high point. I generally like mining from top down. It's a bit faster probably to do random, but at least because if you've got multiple drones, they don't collide. Whereas if you're going to high point and there's only one high point, then the drones kind of fight. But if you do random, then you won't have that problem. So it can be a bit faster to mine if you do random points, but it keeps your mines a little bit more organized if you go from high points. And then what we do is we come in here like that. And then we say on success. In that, you'll see that's the same as the on success here. And then what we want to do is dig. And then go to. So remember we said that our storage here has role ingest like that. So I'm going to go to role ingest. And again, because there could be multiple places, and in fact, often you want there to be multiple places because it allows higher bandwidth. It keeps the drones from colliding with each other. And I can say .random here or .nearest. For the moment, I'm going to say .nearest. Again, when you have a lot of drones and you have high bandwidth, random is probably better, but it depends. If you've got like outposts, then maybe nearest is better because you don't want to go running off to the ingest that's halfway across the map. And then we say drop to drop the thing we just mined. And now what we do is we say play, and this is the equivalent of the play command here. This is a play command here. And And then I say this. And now in this case, this means something slightly different. It says play this action. So what it means is that it'll restart the action from the beginning. And if we had multiple actions over here on the right, then you could tell it to play a different action if you wanted to. And then end. So in this language, anytime you have a block like this, you put an end to mark the end of the block. We did that so we could do the auto formatting here, which is kind of a nice thing to have. And then finally go to parking dot nearest, like that, dot random. So we want to go to a random point in the parking area, and that way, if you've got lots of drones going to parking, they all end up in different places. That's the idea. And now I can do the same thing here. I can single step through the script, or just let it run like so. But where are we here? I guess what I do is I just hit the space bar and that unpauses, and that'll continue the script running. So anyhow, that's kind of the beginning of it. I'm going to make some more videos in the future, which will cover other features of the language and how to do things like flattening scripts and making stairs and stuff like that. But I figure this is probably enough to get you started. Anyhow, hope to see you in the next one.